Dear students, welcome to this next session on ideal and practical op amps. In the previous section, we talked about the data sheets of op amps and the characteristics or parameters of the op amps. So these are the resources used in the preparation of these slides. An ideal op amp is defined as a differential amplifier with various parameters as infinite voltage gain, infinite input resistance Ri, so that almost any signal source can derive it and there is no loading of the preceding stages. As input resistance of ideal op amp is infinite, an open circuit exists at input, hence the current at both input terminals is 0. As there is no current through input resistance, there will be no voltage drop between input terminals, hence no offset voltage appears across the input of ideal op amp. If we consider voltage V1 and V2 are the voltages at inverting and non-inverting terminals of op amp, and we consider V1 is equal to V2, then in the ideal case V1 minus V2 should be 0. The next parameter is the output resistance RO. So it should be 0 so that the output can derive an infinite number of devices. And the ideal op amp behaves like a perfect voltage source delivering current without any internal losses. The internal resistance reduces the voltage available to the load in case of a practical op amp. It has infinite bandwidth so that any frequency signal from 0 to infinite hertz can be amplified without attenuation. That means the op amp performs its function for all ranges of frequency. It should have infinite common mode rejection ratio so that output common mode noise voltage is 0. The slew rate of an ideal op amp is infinite. It is so that output voltage changes occur simultaneously with input voltage changes. So none of the above parameters can be practically realized. A practical or real op amp has some unavoidable imperfections and hence its characteristics differ from ideal one. A real op amp will have non-zero or non-infinite parameters. So next, coming to the equivalent circuit of an op amp, this circuit includes most important values from the data sheets. They are A, that is voltage gain, Ri input resistance, Ro output resistance. For a differential amplifier, input is VID, that is the difference between V1 and V2, that is V1 is the voltage at non-inverting input terminal with respect to ground and V2 is the voltage at non-inverting terminal with respect to ground. A is the large signal voltage gain. So V0, the output voltage, becomes AVID. A is the gain into the VID, that is the differential input voltage. Coming to the equivalent circuit, The equation indicates that the output voltage V0 is directly proportional to the algebraic difference between the two input voltages. In other words, the op-amp amplifies the difference between two input voltages. It does not amplify the input voltages themselves. For this reason, the polarity of output voltage depends upon the polarity of difference voltage. So as already discussed in the characteristics, Ri is the input resistance that can be measured at any terminal inverting or non-inverting with other terminal connected to the ground. Ro is the output resistance and AVID is the output voltage, where A is the gain by which it will be amplifying the differential input signal VID. Now coming to the voltage transfer characteristics of the op-amp, this is the curve for ideal op-amp and this is the curve for the practical op-amp, where the x-axis VID is the differential input voltage and VO is the output voltage on y-axis. This is on the same graph. So here you can see that the output voltage cannot exceed the positive and negative saturation voltages. The saturation voltages are specified by an output voltage swing rating of op-amp for given values of supply voltages. This means that the output voltage is directly proportional to the input difference voltage only until it reaches the saturation voltage, and thereafter output voltage remains constant. So the curve shows an ideal voltage transfer curve. Ideal because output offset voltage is considered to be 0. In normal op-amp use with negative feedback, this voltage is near 0 and is ignored for simplicity of calculation. Notice that the curve is not drawn to scale. If it is drawn to the scale, the curve would be almost vertical because of very large value of A, that is the voltage gain. We are comparing ideal versus practical op-amps on the basis of certain parameters. The first parameter is open loop voltage gain, and that is the ratio of output voltage to input differential voltage. Ideally, it should be infinite, but practically it is 100 dB or of the order of 2 into 10 raised to the power 5. Second one is input resistance Ri. For ideal, it's infinite, and for a practical op-amp like 741C, it is of the order of 2 mega ohm. The output resistance, ideally it should be 0, but a practical op-amp is of the order of 75 ohm. These are typical values of 741C. The bandwidth is infinite as already discussed for an ideal op-amp, but for a practical op-amp like 741C, this is 1 megahertz. The input offset voltage, ideally it should be 0, practically it is 7 millivolt. Input offset current, ideally it should be 0, but practically 200 nanoampere. Input bias current, ideally it should be 0, practically it is of the order of 500 nanoamperes. The slew rate, ideally infinite, practically it is 0.5 volt per microsecond for 741C. Common mode rejection ratio, so that it should be able to reject common mode noises. It should be infinite, so that it can reject common mode signals, but it is of the order of 80 dB. Power supply rejection ratio, or SVRR, supply voltage rejection ratio, ideally it should be 0, but practically it is of the order of 150 microvolts per volt. So the values provided for a practical op-amp are for a typical 741C. In the next class, we will be talking of open loop configurations.